visit, turn it over to the applicant, his engineer to give us a orientation as to what's going to happen where.
Sure. And then afterwards, we can talk about specific issues like foundation, stuff like that, where there aren't mosquitoes in the town hall. But right here, we want people to see where the amount of the pole itself would be. And it's going to be, again, it's a 130-foot pole, and it's going to lose elevation because it's down right through this thicket here. So and you're losing maybe a good 20 feet. So it's roughly going to be a third of the height of this tower, just above these trees. And it's just in that clearing. And it will be a little bit of clearing to get it there, but what will be cleared is an area that's only 40 feet by 40 feet, and a whole lot less than a single family home. And that 40 by 40 foot compound will have the monopole and the equipment at the base of it. We again reiterate that it's our position that even if you can see it, it doesn't matter. But this is a site that is very difficult to see because of the trees and because of the topography.
Guy wire.
There are no guy wires on a monopole.
Huh?
No guy wires on a monopole.
Oh, with the existing guy wire.
We work around it. And we'll go through all those civil engineering issues at the meeting. But in terms of location, if people want to see the location, it's right past this little clump of trees. And where you see the scrub. In 130 feet, again, that's a good marker. That's 300. You lose a little bit of elevation, which would be roughly a third of the height of that. These trees, and you can guesstimate how high they are, but the antenna array would be just above it, which it needs to clear what we call ground clutter. Trees are what we call ground clutter. So it's got to get just above that to be able to see down into the area it's trying to cover.
I could ask the engineer to stand at one corner and tell me where to stand at the other corner so we can get a visual.
Yeah, I mean, so this pine tree, around where this pine tree is right here is where the tower center is going to be. And so if you go forward, it's basically 20 feet on either side of that. So you're talking about the limit.
One corner.
Yeah, so basically where that rock is, the top of that lip is about 20 feet from that, and then about up to here. And that's 40 feet square.
So you're standing at this corner, and then it goes to your left.
Yep.
Where the chair's right.
Tower will be in the middle, 20 feet that way, 20 feet this way, 20 feet that way, 20 feet.
Right. So are you standing where paths are?
Where the edge of the fence would be. About, yeah. And then just behind you would be where the other fence would be.
Am I standing at the other corner?
Yeah, just about. Just behind you.
So you're gonna have to take out these trees.
So these trees around this area would all be taken out.
And are you gonna fill this?
Yeah, so there would be, you'd have to level it so that it's a relatively flat surface. So we would fill in this area and all the way over here back to that ledge. So this would basically be flat going across here.
So how deep is it going to be from the surface of the platform?
From the surface, so basically finished surface of the compound would be about
That's what about?
yeah, I mean, it's very between where you're looking here is where you would estimate where the finished gravel compound is. Here you'd have to fill there here, some cut probably over here, but you're looking about this on this.
And how, so at that point where you're standing, how far underground yet, or how much ground yet?
So that's part of we know for sure once we do so pre-construction process in order to know exactly what type of material we're dealing with underneath here. We do a soil boring that goes down, takes samples of either soil or whatever types of material you're encountering below here, so there's no surprises. That's used to design the foundation and get a snapshot so you don't have any surprises during construction of what you're dealing with. So that boring would tell you how deep you need to go. Typical, if you the tower ledge where the front of the tower is. And typically the bottom of the foundation is about 3 feet tall, 2.5, 2 to 3 feet tall. And then you'd have about 5 feet of cover above that. So you'd be excavating down potentially 7 to 8 feet. If you have ledge, you can actually use that ledge and build on top of it. You can anchor the tower to the ledge, and that minimizes how much you need to excavate.
Sure.
So all that would be determined before the tower gets built and installed in construction.
So if you hit ledge before you get down as far as you need to go, or you can blast it.
No, you would use the ledge and basically pour concrete on top of the ledge.
So they could hear.
You would pour concrete on top of the ledge. So basically you would anchor into the ledge, pour concrete on top of the ledge, and that would be the foundation. Would be to excavate all the ledge, able to install the same foundation. Bedrock gives you good strength, so you want to use that rather than excavate it with blast.
You do like a pocket rebar into it, or what?
Yeah, I mean, they would take rock samples when they do the boring and see exactly what kind of characteristics it has. But yeah, you'd basically drill in and do probably a fill material inside of the drill pole, anchor bolts, anchor rods into it, and then that would tie into a rebar system. That's part of the foundation. Yep.
If I walk from the front edge back, how far back do I go?
Yeah, on the back edge of the pad.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so this is 20 feet right there. So just to the edge, yeah, just probably to the start of the block right there.
The back end.
That'll be the back edge of the fence.
I can, where
Square all the way around. Yep.
About where I am.
Yeah, probably just a little bit down the slope, but yeah, approximately there.
So I'm sorry, I just couldn't hear you totally clearly. Did you say there are patients? Right here?
That area you see filling in, I don't, I mean, obviously we have some rock outcrops here. I don't think it's significant enough where you need to flat. And all this area in front of you is already full, so you want to put it here.
Davey, I think she missed when you talked about confined ledge. That's
Yeah.
not a problem to blast. It is a benefit because you can attach right to the ledge,
Yeah, so the foundation for
and less concrete.
fine bedrock, you basically use that bedrock. You put
Into it.
you put into it and you put concrete on top of it.
So you're saying there's no case in which you're left?
I mean, we would know for sure once we do the boring, to know exactly how, I mean, this area on the backside, you could probably excavate, you wouldn't need to blast it, because that's gonna be a piece of edge of the compound. So I don't see, enough to blast. Usually you see blasting when you have a significant amount of lead that you need to remove, with like say you're bringing a roadway through an uncleared area, and you need your road surface to be a certain grade. If you have a lot of ledge that you're encountering, that's when you typically get into blasting. Most of what I see on the rock outcrops here, I would say can be removed without blasting. But that we would know for sure once they do the signal boring.
You marked out the area of the pool itself, but can you try to give us a sense of where the fencing, grounding, the building? and
That was the area you showed, right? That's where they were standing.
Yep. So
Oh, so that's actually the perimeter fence.
The
area.
fence perimeter, that's the compound.
So using that reference as the pad, then does the pole go here?
Basically right in the middle. So it's over. You were at an edge, he was at an edge. Picture, again, it's a square. Picture those edges out there. Would be right in the middle. There's the pole itself, right in the middle. You were standing here and he was standing there.
Oh, so what we walked is this area
Yes.
here.
Yep, and it's in the middle.
Show.
it's probably right where those 2 trees are.
It's about, you have to measure it off, but yeah, it's, plus or minus a few feet.
What's the diameter of the base?
Probably about 2.5 feet. The base of it.
So it's nothing, it doesn't look like the one that's at Taste of Maine. It's small.
I'm not sure how big that one is.
It's a big one. It's also,
Well, so
I'm only referencing it because that's what we see when we pass by it.
we did one in, well, I shouldn't say it because I don't know.
yeah.
Sorry, you said the diameter of 2 or 3 feet?
2.5 feet, he said.
Yeah, there's no scale.
Just for everybody's benefit, what we marked off as the square in there is, I guess the entire area of their project, which I'm tracing with my finger. So it includes I guess the equipment area, the monopole, and then area around it.
So I'm making a documentary.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to get a quote,
Yeah,
look at this.
top of the- This is just a sample, but yeah, John would be-
Okay. Take a look. Yeah, I want to see the scale. Oh, there's the scale. So that's the scale. 0.816.
North side of the,
Not some distance.
That's the pole. Okay.
have you ballooned in the past for other towns?
We,
to
we,
show
we
visual?
have done some. We're past it here and it's not a requirement of code.
But if it's up to the planning board, there are certain visual and height things. in
Why don't you
ordinances.
raise that at the meeting?
I wasn't done. Where they could ask for something there to be a balloon, so they would actually have a visual representation of where the tower would be and at what height. So it would be, an easy reference point to throw up a balloon to show a visual representation of where this tower was going to be, leaf on and leaf on, with leaves on the trees and with leaves not on the trees.
Okay,
I
any
have a
other
question.
questions from the,
I have one
yeah,
question.
go ahead.
How long will it take? What's the timeline from the time you do the borings till we get the results? Something like that.
It can be, from the time you do the borings until you get results, it can be weeks to a month plus. By the time you do, because all that information gets passed along to the structural engineer
Mhm.
that designs the foundation. And then, that can be, from the time you're doing the boring months.
And how soon would you be doing the borings? I'm just trying to
It's
figure
that-
out when we might get
The geotech's done post approval.
post.
We don't spend the money to do that until the exact location is picked.
Yeah.
All approvals are done. We've got FAA cleared. We've got environmental cleared. It's one of the things towards the end. But then we do geotech prior to, and also prior to ordering the tower.
The boring machine needs to get to where the tower center is, so you
Mhm.
probably be removing trees.
Yeah.
That's why it's, one of the reasons why you don't want to remove trees if you don't have to.
The perimeter of the fence doesn't encroach on this. easement or
From
right
your
of way?
no, so you're in line right here.
Okay, so it's kind of in essence to
Yeah,
the side of this.
I wouldn't encroach on the access.
And the building that houses the utility building,
The equipment shelter.
where is that going to be?
David, is it a building or a cabinet?
It's a cabinet. It's not you can't walk into it. It's basically like a refrigerator.
Okay.
And that's just on a concrete pad.
Mhm.
That's, about a foot thick. And that would be over on the right of the tower
Okay.
in the back one.
Not on the pad? Off of the pad? On the ground.
There's a gap between where the pad is. So the pad is below ground and this would sit on top of the ground.
So it's outside of that perimeter.
It's inside the fence. Yeah, it's inside the fence, but the foundation, it's above the foundation of the tower.
Okay.
But
I have a question.
everything is inside the fence.
I have questions about the site and construction, like how the cranes get up here and where the staging and all of that is gonna happen, because this is not, it's a dirt road,
Yeah,
so.
yeah, so in order to make enough space here, the first thing they would do is clear this whole area and flatten it as much as they can so that they can get vehicles in and out. You'd use some of this area, probably for staging. There's ways to protect kind of the entrance, so you don't have rutting. You can put, heavy stone down so that vehicles coming in and out of the driveway.
But how does that work with the right of way? Because you can't do anything to the right of way
Well,
from the
yeah,
butters.
yeah, I mean,
I'm sorry, you mean on the public road or
From
the?
the right of way, like you can't
We-
touch that right of
Yes, we
way.
can.
Really?
Yeah.
Sorry, question staying on what's within the perimeter of the fence, the generator. What size is the generator? And it's,
I believe it's 30 kW. You talking about like big dimensions?
just what it, for power, and the dimensions are on the plan, I see.
Yeah, I think it's 30 kW. I'd have to double check. 50 kW, sorry.
A diesel? Okay.
Diesel, yeah.
And are you able
50
to
kW.
compare it to the generator up there? Do we know? If not right now, another time to see whether that's a bigger or similar. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be, it's basically this, the power that would be here wouldn't be more than house, compared to that. 50
And where are
kW.
the utilities coming up? How are they coming up?
They would be brought up the road, underground.
Underground?
Behind,
Up the right of way here?
poles that are,
They're coming up the right of way?
the power's right there on the, you see the poles behind us? Wouldn't they not be outside?
It could be, yeah,
Yeah.
on the final.
Yeah,
There's
the-
already power. Typically it's up the easement area, up the roadway, but if there's already power to the site, it's available. That's one of the things that gets checked.
Yeah.
By the local
It's
power
fine, I
company.
mean, yeah,
post approval.
On the application, so the generator would only be on while the power was out, but we all have some generators, we know they test. So
Yeah.
This generator was tested
Yeah,
well.
it would run,
Weekly.
it might be, I'm not sure how often, probably bi-weekly. I can double check though.
Okay.
Um,
And then just there are things about sound, so the testing schedule would be an ordinance, and,
It's underway. We haven't gotten the results yet, but the testing is underway for that generator.
oh, I just meant when the generator, tests itself to be after a certain amount of, within the hours, I think it's like
Yeah.
9 a.m. to
It's-
7
the
p.m.
op- yeah,
That's
the
on it. It could be
operating,
set
yeah.
for any time.
And the generator is within the fence. Does the fence have barbed wire?
I believe this one does.
Is it lit?
Is the fence lit? No.
No.
There's a motion sensor working light at the cabinets. That's on a timer. Just so if someone's here, they're in the dark and working on it, they can see.
Is there any lighting on the tower?
No, we cleared FAR 77 rules.
You're low enough to,
We're low enough to not need it. Once you're over 200 feet, you need to be lit. That's why this one's lit.
you said about construction staging and having to obviously clear this for the gravel pad. But are you clearing anything else?
Not that I know of. We're basically using this as is.
And when you're clearing, are you removing the trees and chipping them? Because there's been some tree removal and you can tell that the logs are down on
Yeah,
the ledge.
I mean, I don't know if they would chip it, maybe they could chip it and leave it here, or they would bring it outside. It would be complete.
Okay,
it
so
could-
they're
it
not
could-
just dropping trees.
No, they wouldn't just drop it and leave, they would, chip it up. Or remove it altogether.
Okay, any other questions?
So there's no clearing from the road from post office? There's gonna be no clearing
From up here,
From-
no, yeah,
from and all the way up to the site? Even for staging and craning, nothing?
not from between, basically the limit of
Road.
work half down the slope,
So not past this 20 feet?
not past
The pad.
the fence.
Okay.
Basically, I mean, and it opens up over there too, so, it's basically, you clear the side of the compound and enough area to work around it. But that wouldn't take you down all the way to the road.
Just a couple things relating to the installation direction. Describe a little bit about this. Could you walk through the steps involved in the clearing and the installation? So kind of see how the construction project will progress over time.
Yeah, like as I mentioned, the first thing you would do is want to clear this area because this is majority, because we didn't have the existing road, and this is relatively flat compared to other sites. The first thing you'd want to do is clear this area so that you can get, whatever your foundation requirements are for depth, you excavate down. The foundation is basically the first main objective for the construction. Once you basically excavate down in the area of the foundation, put formwork in, enough to whatever you need to do to install concrete. You would have concrete installed, it would need time to set. And then once your foundation is good, is set and doesn't need any additional modification, you're looking at installing fill on top of it, compacting it, so it's firm. Leveling the area as close to what your finished grade that you want the compound to be at. You're bringing utilities, whether it's there or off hold. You're bringing utilities to the site. Then you're doing most of your above ground work. You're installing foot supports for the utility equipment. You're doing the blasting you're probably doing is the fencing because you still have to bring the tower and stack the tower, which comes in pre-made sections.
In terms of preparing the site, is there going to be a need to do any blasting, do you think, or is that
I
something?
mean, I don't see it significant, if anything, minor, but I think most of what you're looking at for removal would be along that lip right there. So if you can excavate that without having to blast, they don't want to blast if they don't. But that's really that rock outcrop right there is the only thing I see that needs to be removed. Like I said, you're going down, if you hit that rock underneath here, you're not blasting.
There's blasting, then there's using a shank, right? Which is like this, ding, 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 ding. So what about the extent of using the shank?
Yeah, I mean, if you could chip it away, that would probably be.
Oh, okay. I was saying we're discussing blasting, but are you most definitely probably going to be also using the?
You would do one or the other. You would do one or the other.
Okay, so it wouldn't be both.
No, like I said, blasting is more for a lot of material removal. Where this, you're only really removing enough that's going to obstruct the fence, and even the fence can be anchored into the rock. So you don't want, we don't want to remove, because removal of material takes time and labor. So you want to try to utilize as much of that as you can. So if anything, you're chipping that away just to the limit of the fence.
What about the drainage for all the concrete work that's going to be done here and the stormwater management for the water running off into the post office road, that's the road maintained by the town?
Yeah, so the finished surface of the compound is gravel. So it's not like it's a parking lot that's gonna hold the water or bring it somewhere else. So a lot of what you're seeing for, I mean, groundwater, that's a lot like, water on surface. It wants to find the road place. The foundation itself has soil on top of it, so it still can go in and follow the same path as it would after, that does now. And really the only surface concrete you have is the equipment pad that's 10 feet. I think it's 12 by, it's not a very big space. So it's not going to retain water. But the gravel lets basically the water act as it would now. It's not accumulating water. It's not increasing how much water you already have.
Okay.
It's soaking back
He
into the water.
mentioned that they would be redoing the road coming in. What about that with the stormwater management for the abutters that are having, they've made significant improvements for stormwater management to their property?
I think I was mentioning protecting it, not
Okay.
redoing all of it, just while you have construction vehicles coming in and out. Just putting something down to protect
Okay.
the dirt.
You can continue just on some of the process, kind of again, what impacts there may be to
the visibility for the abutters? Because there'll be vehicles then coming up the access road.
Yeah, I mean, the foundation is definitely where you see a lot, most of your activity for vehicles. The time it takes, I mean, you're not talking about months. You're talking about to do the excavation work, weeks. And that's not having vehicles come up and down. A lot of times when we see the most sites that we've had where you have much longer access roads and you're clearing everything from scratch, that's where you see a lot more activity, a lot more disturbances to the area. Here, I mean, while we do have trees here, this is a relatively flat, clear area compared to other sites. And having the access road there already minimizes how much disturbance you're going to take. Once the foundation is done and you're finished grade, most of that is just surface work where you got typical work trucks. You're not bringing in big machinery. So really, it's the foundation and stacking the towers where you see most of the vehicle movement.
And you don't, I mean, I think we see something of an erosion control. There's not really much.
You would just protect, you would put a silt fence and protect the area that you have disturbance on the ground. So that just dirt and wouldn't go past your work area basically. But as you can see, there's not a lot of downstream flow from this area. I mean, this up here has a lot more of a straight path down to the road. And the amount of area that we're disturbing here, you know, it's a localized footprint. So you're protecting the area that you're actually working.
So you would restore this right of way to the whatever extent there's some wear and tear on it as you bring vehicles in.
Yeah, that's in the easement itself. Our obligations are yeah, in the easement.
Yeah, because they would want to maintain the
Sure.
ability to get to it, so they would want to have it.
Are you trying to keep the buffer that there is between the landowners of the easement and the abutters to the tower and the construction site?
None of that's going to be touched. It's just this area where the 2020.
So could you kind of explain what the buffer to the construction area from that marker right there on that line to here would be?
From the property line to where the
So there's a line snapped right there that marks where the Hamiltons own their property, and then you see the right of way coming through it. Could you give us an idea of how much land would be and trees would be untouched from that line to here?
I think you already went through that. None of that's going to be touched. It's just the area here.
For
of the
like
compound.
like feet, like is it going to be 20 feet from that line, or is it
No,
going to be 10 feet from that line?
So what's the distance from where you're standing, basically the edge of the compound to the property line? I think it's 70 feet, if I remember from the survey. I think it's marked off on the
Because
survey.
I see 20 feet on the plan from the corner of perimeter fence to the property line. And it's just possible. So. You can't bring between the trees.
Oh, it's 71 feet to the road. Yeah, I'm sorry, 70 feet to the road. 71.
70 feet set. So 20 feet other.
So kind of looks like how it's gonna be here. So it's 20
Depends
feet
on where
from that point.
Based on the plan. Okay, that's a good point.
So that
So this is about 20 feet from the
From the snap bone.
snap line,
this snap line may not be the property line.
if that is the snap, or if that is the property line.
So is this where the tower is gonna be?
No, this is the edge of the fence. So the fence, well. If that is, and that may not
I
be-
thought we just talked
That-
about
that
the
may not be
fence
the-
being over there. Didn't we?
The corner, so the corner, so the fence has a little bit, or the fence has a little bit of a skew like this, I think.
Mhm,
So the closest corner of the fence
mhm.
would be 20 feet. And they may have just run that because
there's a
the trees
reference.
are, so I don't know exactly where the property line is there.
Property.
So it could be a few feet.
Okay,
Give or
'cause
take.
I thought what you
Because the
explained
the
was
center of the
the antenna's there,
antenna's there, 20 feet that this way,
right?
Where that's the right of way.
20
and the
feet.
property line, Where that
and
intersects.
that's.
So
That's
when,
approximate.
when John asked you, it was like, it was gonna be, the pad was gonna exist over there,
It's 20.
but
feet
now
in
we're
either-
all the way over here.
It's 20 feet in either direction.
Okay, because that's not how it was explained when, it was like, it's just gonna be over here.
The tower, the tower would be over here.
All right, well, let's just clear it up.
Okay,
Well, yeah, so we have reference points, right? So there's property bounds that are rebar on the survey. They're from the road to the back of the lot. That line connects both points of rebar. You have the ROW coming through the Hamiltons. You're coming to the mouth of this property, ROW.
I understand what the tower's gonna be.
And then on their plan, it says the corner of the perimeter fence is 20 feet plus or minus from the property line.
It's 40 feet by 40.
Right, they're trying to figure it out, their application, so let's hear from them
Yeah.
before we leave this.
Yeah, the Hamilton, they snap the line between those spot points. Right there. There's the markers on the wall. It would just be nice if it was marked out there.
I don't understand why it's not marked out.
So, but that's approximately what that would- if it's mistaken. From the top, from about where the tree is, 20, I mean, 20 feet.
Markers.
Yeah, it's not, the entire perimeter. 40 by 40 by 40.
No, I'm looking at the check out. Right here.
Is there a fence?
Yes, but they just said it's 22, 20 direction. So that's 40.
It is 40.
So. This
You
is.
just said it.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, that as the survey goes, showing.
Well, this is 20 feet. So
Debating
the
that.
tower.
Yeah.
We're debating the size.
Approximately.
And this is the
Give or
corner of
take.
the fence.
This would be 20 feet in either direction.
And then you have another 20 feet past Sam.
I'm using the tree as a reference.
Okay,
It's about where it is.
so the chairperson was standing where the tower, where the center of the compound was, not the edge of the fence. as I understood. And it's 20 feet this way and 20 feet that way from where you were standing. About 20 feet from there. About 20 feet from where you were standing.
Yeah,
You had-
I mean.
Even a third of the way.
The center of the tower.
Okay, we're not gonna solve this right now, so any other questions?
Well, I just don't know where it's going.
So that's the problem, we'll take care of it. Any other questions?
I guess to walking through the construction process, there's really no earth moving planned or expected,
Within the compound, right?
just in
Yeah,
there.
and just in the compound. That's
Okay,
it.
so nothing will be, have to be filed elsewhere.
We want, basically, the area we want, but. So,
This will be left.
this would be left. The whole footprint would have a very. Pretty.
And how deep is the pit?
The tower house?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the tower pad is, can be between 2 and 3 feet tall, and that's depending on what you have below grade there. So it can be buried, if you have nothing but soil beneath, you have 5 feet. Below, if you hit bedrock, then you're shallow.
We need to show people where the tower is. And then everybody's just gonna have to picture 20 feet in either direction from that.
I think we're beyond that. We're gonna have to come back after this is all marked out. So.
Yeah, we can have a
Okay.
surveyor
Yeah,
come back
okay,
and mark,
right.
because this is, the handheld GPS has some,
That's why we're doing that.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing
okay,
it.
so
Big
we
deal.
could have
Not a big.
mark specifically where corners are and towers. are.
Yeah. You should mark the corners, run tape, and then run a stake right where
Any
the
other
tower will be.
questions?
Yeah, when you're doing then the actual construction of the monopole, what does that look like?
It's a erector set, comes in maybe, I don't know how many pieces, but it comes in 20-foot sections, typically 20 or 40-foot sections. Gets bolted, all the foundation work's done. They come in, takes 2 days, maybe 3, and a crane, and they just bolt all the sections up together. That's very quick.
All right, any other questions?
As we walk down the right of way, just taking into consideration construction equipment coming through that's awfully high, like a crane, there's overhead limbs and trees in the way. Even there's choke points between those trees. And then you guys have said that you're not going to touch anything over there. So do you see that being something that you're going to keep to?
I don't see how tall is the equipment? I mean, maybe there's a, it might be a limb or something, but these trees, they're not going.
I don't think would even be enough to fit a dump truck full of gravel.
Anything. No idea.
Well, I don't know how a crane is gonna sit on here.
I'm just trying to understand how this is not going to be touched when it doesn't look like it's acceptable for.
Why don't you measure that and run it by the construction folks?
Okay, yeah. Just if there's any choke points in the line of the.
Then a tree would have to come down, but we don't want to do that.
Where we are told through the application process that this is not going to be touched. If after, during construction, you drop a tree that's, and not what the application was for, so. We're trying to establish that there's going to be a buffer between the homeowners there and this industrial development.
Okay, more work to be done. Any other questions? Hearing none. Let me ask the group, because I think this is, I mean, you'll certainly go to town hall, but does the group want to continue this conversation at the town hall? Or have we exhausted our questions and comments?
I think we advertised it, so I think we should go.
Yeah.
With any other questions and clarify anything that we have to clarify.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get a sense as to whether we need to
Yep, no, I understand.
plan for a long time. All right, sounds to me like it's gonna be kind of short, but let's go ahead and meet at town hall. Thank you all.
Get out of here without any traffic.
This portion of the meeting is adjourned.